The Pahlavi Sword really has a very interesting history to it because it all started when I was a graduate student at the State University of New York in Binghamton, otherwise known as SUNY Binghamton. And I remember being in the office of one of my advisors who was actually an Iranian expert. Her name was Helen Revlin. And I was just on the verge of graduating from graduate school with my master's degree in international relations. And she had told me that, you know what, here you are graduating, but you really have not done any credible work on Iran. And so one thing led to another, and before you knew it, I was doing research on the religious opposition in Iran. And mind you, this was like 1976, coming close to 1977. And I guess after I had completed the study, I just went ahead and said, now wouldn't it be interesting if I just went ahead and wrote an outline for a story? And before I knew it, I went ahead and wrote the outline for the book that is now the Pahlavi Sword. But here's the strange part. I wrote the outline, put it away from 1977 until 2009. I finally took it out and I said, I think I'm ready to write this. So I went ahead, of course, and did more research. What makes this book particularly strange is because I've never been to Iran. So I really had to do a lot of research that would make the story as realistic as possible. So I went ahead and wrote this book, and fortunately I had a couple of Persian friends who advised me along the way and gave me all kinds of tidbits, cultural tidbits and information. And I really, it came in handy when it came to writing the story. I've always had a fascination about Iran. I think Iran is a great country, great culture. And it's ironic because I grew up in Iraq that was raising its children, if you will, to hold Iran in disdain. And I've never really liked that. Fortunately, I grew up in a house that taught me to respect all cultures and all religions. And you know, if people respect themselves, I respect them, and that's really the measure of my judgment of others. Most of what is serialized as propaganda, you know, I'm not into that at all. So I basically wanted to take a stance against torture because, especially during the time of the Shah, SAVAK was extensively used to interrogate people, and many of the people who were in jail were innocent. So even though the focus is on SAVAK and on Evin prison in Tehran, any person who reads the book will see a universal message that comes out of it. And I'm basically taking a strong stance against torture. And so that's why this book is not appropriate reading for anybody in school, especially middle and high school. I say that because I'm an educator, and that's the population that I've worked and dealt with. College students, I think they'd be mature enough, they'd be able to handle it, but not students who are in the middle or high school level. Hopefully you read it and enjoy it.